What's up, YouTube? And I'm back at you with another video. And in this video, I'm going to do my prediction for the Alabama Crimson Tide going on the road to play against the Texas A&M Aggies. This is going to be a tough matchup for the Alabama Crimson Tide. They're going on the road, and they're playing at College Station, the 12th man, big stadium, huge crowd, and that's a tough place to play at. Basically, the winner of this matchup potentially be the leader in the SEC West to win the West Division. So it's going to be a lot riding on this game. I'm going to just go ahead and get into the stats. Both teams have taken a loss this season. Texas A&M took an early loss to Miami, Miami team that's currently ranked. And Alabama took a loss to Texas, and they're currently ranked. So both teams took losses to ranked teams, and they're trying to find their footing and trying to win out the rest of their schedule. I'm going to just go ahead and get into the stats. Texas A&M, start with them. They started the season with Connor Wayman as their quarterback. He's no longer the quarterback. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. And since then, they brought in Max Johnson, a transfer from LSU. To be quite honest, he looks a whole lot better, in my opinion, than Connor Wayman. Connor Wayman was a great quarterback for the Aggies, but Connor Wayman has since came in, and so far he's thrown for 436 yards on the season. He's thrown for 6 touchdowns and only has 1 interception. So very, very talented guy. He can run the ball as well, for play breaks now. So a very talented quarterback, and he looks really, really good for that Aggie offense. Of course, at running back, they got Le'Veon Moss. This guy, really, really good player. He has 2 touchdowns on the season with 276 yards rushing. Mari Daniels is another guy. He's right there with him with 270 yards with 2 touchdowns. So this A&M team, has done a better job at running the ball than, from past teams. They was able to get, Ole Miss's former running backs coach from Lane Kiffin. And this Aggies offensive, line and them running the ball has been a key factor in their offense, and they look really, really good doing it. They got 2 good backs in Daniels and Moss. Especially Moss, he's really, really good. Alabama's going to have to try to contain this Aggie running game, but they're very, very talented. And like I said, Matt Johnson, he's run for 52 yards. So very lethal Texas A&M offense, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens in this matchup. At receiver, Texas A&M is scary at wide receiver. They got a lot of guys. Evan Stewart, he has 357 yards receiving with 4 touchdowns. Anaya Smith doesn't have a touchdown, but another guy that Alabama has to be worried about. He has 343 yards on the season, and he has a personal vendetta against Alabama. If I'm not mistaken, he was kind of speaking in the interview about, he was saying he knows what Nick Saban wants. And if I'm not mistaken, I think Anaya Smith is Maurice Smith, former player for Alabama's brother. And he might have been referring to, back in that time in 2016, players wanted to transfer, and I guess he's referring to, I think Nick Saban didn't want him to transfer back then or something like that. But he has a personal vendetta against Alabama, and he's since came out and talked, and he really wants to beat Alabama. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, with him, and see who's, going to be, playing against him, whether it's Terrion Arnold or whoever, but very, very dangerous wide receiver as well. So got to watch out for him. Like I said, they got Noah Thomas, they got Jada Walker, I might pronounce his name wrong. Moose Muhammad, that's another guy that Alabama needs to watch out for. He only has 70 yards on the season, but he has a touchdown. I mean, this Aggie offense, with these wide receivers and, of course, Moss, and he can get out wide. Like, this Aggie wide receiver core is going to be in my opinion, may not be as good as Texas wide receivers, but they're right there. I mean, very, very talented. Of core group of wide receivers, and Alabama's secondary is going to be tested in this matchup, most definitely. And defensively, man, Texas A&M, man, that front seven that they have is really, really, really good. They have 20 sacks on the season. I mean, they're very disruptive up front. I mean, Adrian Cooper, he has 30 tackles on the season. He has 15 solo and 15 assisted. 15 solo tackles. He has 3 sacks and just dangerous. I mean, a dangerous player, man. Walter Nolan on that defensive line, great guy. Very, very disruptive. McKinley Jackson, a guy that we tried to get to come to Alabama. This Aggies front seven is going to be the toughest front seven that Alabama has played up to this point, next to Texas. Texas had a really, really good defensive front. In my opinion, they right up there with, Texas. They might, in my opinion, they're probably better than Texas. I'm just being honest. This is going to be a tough task for Alabama's offensive line. Alabama's offensive line has since, gotten better, but they're going to have to significantly get better in this matchup against the Texas A&M defensive front seven, man. Really, really talented group of guys. I mean, they just talented all the way around. Josh DeBerry, he has an interception. I mean, this Texas A&M team is very, very good. If I had to say one area on the defense that's, may not be as elite is the secondary, but they so good up front, man. They can mask it, man. They really, really good, and they don't give opposing quarterbacks time to do anything. So it's going to be key for Alabama to block these guys up front, and Alabama has struggled blocking guys up front, especially if you go back to that Texas game. So Alabama's going to have their hands full. As far as Alabama, Jalen Miro, so far he's thrown for 838 yards. He has 6 touchdowns and he has 3 interceptions. Didn't throw an interception in his last matchup against Mississippi State. Was very efficient, but he only finished that game with like 165 yards or something like that. In this matchup against Texas A&M, he's going to have to throw the ball. He's going to have to be effective with that. He's very lethal with his legs when he gets, when he sees lanes and takes off running. But Texas A&M is going to be, I feel like they're going to be ready to try to clog up running attack, from Alabama. Alabama's running attack last game looked really, really well. Alabama was pushing those guys off the line of scrimmage, and basically Alabama looked like Alabama of old in their last matchup against Mississippi State. But, of course, Jalen Miro is a threat with his legs. He's actually third on the team in rushing with 189 yards rushing with 4 touchdowns. So Jalen Miro thrown for 838 yards passing and has 189 yards on the ground. So very talented athlete, but he's going to have to pass the ball in this matchup. And we're going to have to see if he's going to be able to step up in this matchup. Chase McClellan has 326 yards rushing. He's the leading rusher. He's averaging 4.9 yards a carry. He has 3 touchdowns. Like I said, Alabama's offense has sputtered, at times, but they was able to pick up the run game a little bit, in their last matchup. And O-line was able to push guys off the ball. So Rodell Williams, 242 yards. He has a touchdown. So Alabama seemed like they're getting in their groove, offensively. And it seemed like Turner Reese was able to scheme up, plays for Jalen Miro in the last matchup. So he's definitely going to have to scheme up some passing plays, to keep the Aggie defense off, balance. Wide receiver, the leading receiver, Jermaine Burton. We're not sure if he's going to play in this matchup. Nick Saban mentioned that, he's practiced some, but, not sure about them playing, the other players and as well as Jermaine Burton be able to play in this matchup. But so far, he's the leading receiver with 189 yards receiving. He has 2 touchdowns. He's great to step up this game this season. Looks really, really good out there. And like I said, he's the leading receiver. But Alabama has Isaiah Bond, another guy, right behind him, 179 yards receiving with a touchdown. Amari Niblack is a guy that has emerged for Alabama, the tight end, big frame, but plays like a wide receiver, got wide receiver speed. He's going to be a mismatch. He has 158 yards receiving, and he has 2 touchdowns. So look for him to get uh, some receptions in this matchup, against the Texas A&M Aggies. C.J. Dupree, another tight end, very, very good player. He has 104 yards receiving. Kobe Prentice is a guy that we haven't heard from, really too much in these last couple of matchups, but real, really good guy. But a lot of players, Jalen Hill, freshman receiver, real, really good player. He has emerged. He has a touchdown. So Alabama is very, very talented, at the wide receiver position, but there's definitely going to be some guys, to look out for in this matchup to get some receptions. So it's going to be a very, very great matchup. Defensively, Alabama's defense has greatly improved from last season. We put a lot of blame on Pete Golden last season, and I guess we was right, because Alabama's defense has looked very, very sound, especially guys like Malachi Moore. This is a guy that shined as a freshman, when he first came in at Alabama. He looks back to form, and dare I say, he's probably the best player on the team right now, as far as mentality-wise. Very, very great player. Caleb Downs, freshman, was able to get a interception his last matchup. Very, very talented guy at the safety position. I expect A&M is going to try to attack, the middle of the field on Alabama, but Caleb Downs has done a phenomenal job for us. I can't wait to see what he does, going forward. Tresman Marshall is a guy that stepped up. Jahad Campbell stepped up. Deontay Lawson, we're not sure about him coming back, but he's the leader of the defense. But Alabama really didn't lose too much, as far as the defensive play calling at the inside linebacker position with Jahad Campbell and Tresman Marshall coming in. Those guys really stepped up. They had a few, mistakes here and there, but definitely we didn't have a huge drop-off, and that's very, very good, showing that we got depth at the position. Dallas Turner is having a good game. He's come along for Alabama. He's going to be on their edge. Chris Braswell as well. Tim Keenan's another guy that's getting pressure up the middle. And, of course, you got guys like Jaheim Otis and John Marion Latham. So Alabama is very, very talented on the defense as well, and they're no slouch. They're good at all the positions. From you would like to see the D-line to get more pressure, but they have gotten better. And so far, Alabama was able to get 17 sacks on the season. So they were right up there. Texas A&M has 20, Alabama has 17. So Alabama's right up there with Texas A&M defense, and it's going to be a defensive slugfest. Caleb Downs, like I was trying to mention, he's the leading tackler on the team with 40. He has 20 solo tackles and 20 assisted tackles, so he's no slouch as well for Alabama. Jalen Key, he has an interception as well. Braswell was able to get one. Jahid Campbell was able to get an interception. So this Alabama defense at all levels is very, very good, and the Aggies going to have a tough time moving the ball on the Alabama defense. Now I'm looking at these other stats, stats per game. Alabama's averaging 363 yards a game. That's 195 through the air and 167 on the ground. They definitely want to put more passing yards in their play, and that's what I was mentioning. Alabama has to get the wide receivers involved more frequently than they have. But, Alabama has changed its style of play. They want to establish the run more than the pass, but you would like to see Alabama pass the ball down the field, with the intermediate passes, to get the offense going. Alabama has a very, very great special teams as well. I forgot to mention. Will Reichert has been their ace, this year. Very, very good player. And James Burnham knows how to flip the field, to help the Alabama Crimson Tide. So, basically, what I'm saying, Alabama's offense, Will Reichert should, he's really, really good for them, but they got to be able to turn punts, not punts, but extra points and stuff like that. 3 points to 7 points. We got to be able to do that in this matchup against Texas A&M. Texas A&M is averaging 443 yards a game. They're getting 283 through the air, and they're getting 160 on the ground. That's a really, really good offense. Texas A&M has Bobby Petrino, I'm sorry. Bobby Petrino as their OC. I'm not sure if he's completely calling all the plays. Jimbo still might be putting his influence on the offense, but this Aggie offense is really, really good and balanced. 160 yards a game, that's really good. I feel like anything 100 north of 150 is very, very good. So Texas A&M Aggies is really good offensively. Yards allowed, Alabama's allowing 298 yards a game to opponents. They're allowing 184 through the air, and they're allowing 114 on the ground. So Alabama, last matchup, was able to give up some rushing yards, let the quarterback scramble a little bit, and Will Rogers, in pass, against UCF and stuff like that, allow the quarterbacks to pick up some yardage. So they definitely got to contain the quarterback in this matchup, especially with their new quarterback at the helm, Max Johnson. He can take it off as well. So Alabama would like to get that number down. A&M is only allowing 253. They're only allowing 157 through the air and only 96 yards on the ground rushing. So A&M, as of right now, if you look at the stats, A&M has the better defense, But when you're looking at the game, you would think that Alabama has the better secondary, than Texas A&M. Texas A&M seems like they got the better pressure up front with their front seven, with their defensive line. But Alabama seems like they got the better secondary. But in my opinion, Alabama's good in all facets of the defense. Texas A&M, in my opinion, just really good with their front seven. Got to clean up that back end. But they're only allowing 157, so the stats showing that they're really, really good. And stat-wise, Texas A&M is allowing less yards than Alabama. So it's very interesting going into this matchup. Will it matter in the actual game? We're going to all have to see on Saturday. I'm looking at the prediction for this game. I've seen some lines, and this line right here is saying as low as 1.5 points. That's very low. So they're saying that they think this match is going to be very, very, very close. I'm looking at the teams that both teams played. Alabama played Middle Tennessee, took a loss to Texas, 34-24, beat UCF, USF, 17-13, beat a very, very good Ole Miss team offensively, 24-10. And they beat a Mississippi State team, a veteran Mississippi State team, 40-17. So that's the opponents that Alabama has played, and vice versa. Texas A&M has beaten University of New Mexico, 52-10. They took a loss to Miami, 48-33. That Miami loss, Miami just threw the ball on Texas A&M. Miami couldn't really run the ball, but they was able to pass the ball, and that's what I was saying. Alabama has to be able to pass the ball, I feel, to win this matchup against Texas A&M. To beat Louisiana Monroe 47-3, beat Auburn 27-10, and they beat Arkansas 34-22. That Arkansas game was close. Arkansas was in there, Both teams kind of turned the ball over, so it was back and forth. But Arkansas plays everybody tough. So if I had to give a prediction for this game, this is going to be a tough game. And I think it's going to be tough for Alabama. But if I had to give a prediction for this matchup, I think Alabama's going to find a way to win this game. It's going to be tough, I feel. I would be shocked if Alabama doesn't struggle in this matchup. But Alabama has that they just have something about them. I mean, I know a lot of people are getting down on Alabama right now. They're hearing all the noise about, Alabama is done. They're going to fall. Texas A&M is going to beat them. I've seen a lot of people picking Texas A&M to win this matchup, and rightfully so. this is a matchup on the road. Last time Alabama went on the road, they lost to Texas A&M. That's a hard place to play. And this is going to be Alabama, in my opinion, Alabama's toughest matchup this season. But with all that being said, I think Alabama's going to pull it off. And the reason why I believe they're going to pull it off is back to what I was saying. A&M front seven is very, very good. But I don't think they're that good on the back end. And I think Alabama's going to game plan to expose that. I think the early loss to Texas woke Alabama up. Not immediately after the game when they played USF, but both teams know what's at stake for this matchup. And I believe Alabama's going to come in this matchup motivated. I think Jalen Miro, without a shadow of a doubt, I think he's going to prove some people wrong in this matchup as far as passing the ball down the field. I think Alabama's been holding the playbook. Players like Malik Benson, you haven't seen Alabama throwing the ball to Malik Benson. And a lot of people forgot about, him. I think he's one of Jalen Miro's best targets. It's just something about Alabama's offense that just doesn't look right, in my opinion. I think they've been holding back some things, and I think they've been waiting for a big game. I think they've been waiting for this matchup. And like I said, that Texas lost, I think that woke Alabama up. And I think it woke Jalen Miro up. He didn't play well in the last matchup at home last year against Texas A&M. And I think he's going to want to prove his doubters wrong. I could be wrong, but I just have a feeling that, Alabama's going to win this matchup. Now, I see two scenarios. Well, actually three scenarios. Alabama can win this game close. They can win it comfortably. And when I say comfortably, I'm thinking maybe by two scores maybe. And then, of course, the third scenario will be that just Texas A&M will just be too much. But I think Alabama's going to win this matchup. I think Alabama knows that they got to be able to pass the ball. And I think Alabama's going to come out and try to establish the run against this very, very tough A&M run defense. A&M is very, very good at stopping the run. But I'm looking at the teams that both teams played. I don't think A&M really played anybody, that can run the ball, that's very, very physical at running the ball. Like I said, Miami did not run the ball on A&M because they probably couldn't. But I've heard people say that Miami has the better offensive line. I'm going to wait on that. I got to see how Alabama performs before I can rank that. But I just think Alabama's going to win this matchup. I think they're going to try to establish the pass. I think Tommy Rees is going to incorporate some passing in this matchup to exploit, A&M's defensive front. And if Alabama can get a hat on the O-line, man, and I'll just give Jalen Miro time. Jalen Miro has shown that he's very good at throwing the deep ball. And I believe Texas A&M has a weakness in the secondary that hasn't been exploited yet. But who knows? I could be wrong. What do you guys think? Do you think Texas A&M is just going to be too much? I know a lot of Alabama fans think Texas A&M. A lot of Alabama fans are not really confident in this matchup. Rightfully so. Texas A&M was very, very good. But I just think Alabama's going to find a way to win. And plus, like I said, special teams is going to play a heavy role in this matchup. I think it's going to be a defensive slugfest at first. But I like Alabama with their special teams play and their defense. I think Alabama's defense is going to keep them in this matchup. But what do you guys think? Leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. Let me know if I'm wrong. If you think Texas A&M is going to run away with it, you guys let me know. But I got Alabama winning. Once again, if you haven't, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll definitely be back with more college football content. Thanks, guys, and roll tide.